Good morning, everybody. My car passed its MOT yesterday. 20-year-old car. 20 years. It's in its 20th year this year. Um, and in this country, we have a sort of a Ministry of Transport test for cars every year. The cars are over 3 years old. They have to have a ministry to make sure that they're roadworthy and safe to be on the road. It's only valid for the actual time it passes the test, but it just means that if you get it tested once a year, at least one day a year or one time a year, it is valid. Your car is sort of like considered deemed roadworthy. And I'm walking through the same wood as I was yesterday, actually. But I'm on a road this time. This is a road that cuts through it. We're in the extreme southwest of England. Well, not extreme south. We're in the far southwest of England. Extreme. No, we're in the far southwest of England. And luckily, it's that far southwest that things can be really quite quiet still. And like, I can walk up this road here in the middle of the road and not stress about too many cars and things like that. This is the same woodland. You can see all around all the trees. England is incredibly beautiful. I can imagine, before we got here, before the New Stone Age, in the Mesolithic time, what this country was rainforest. Britain is temperate rainforest. That's its climate, and so it would have been forested. The whole island would have been forested, or the series of islands. And this is what it probably would have looked like without having a road going through it. And there would have been bears and oryx and other things like that living here. And it would have been very fascinating to actually come here and do some time traveling, go back in time and see what it was like. Yeah, dense rainforest. Yeah, but here we are. Um, I'm just walking up this road this morning and then going cutting in through the woods just to sort of like do a dog walk. And here comes a vehicle. Here we go. He was going for it. Yes. The price of fuel at the moment. Funny enough, I went to buy some fuel yesterday, and it had gone up to 189, and of course everybody was talking about it in the garage. Even the guy serving in the garage, he was talking about it, saying sort of how well, how people are complaining, but people are starting now not to drive their cars, to make sure that the journeys are crucial. So the roads are becoming quieter. So the fuel hike really is a lockdown by another method. It's a curbing of the lockdown. I don't know if I remember yesterday, I told you a bit about they put in several hillsides in this forest. They put in plantations. Now this is one of the plantations that they never cropped because thing. You can see those trees down there are some kind of pine tree. I don't know exactly which type they are, but they're thing. But I actually I know it's not the natural indigenous sort of like thing that grew here, but I think this forest it heals itself, and that's a natural sort of like look. So you can see up there, that's called scrub oak. Those are oaks, okay, and they are, because the soil is not very, it's shallow to the bedrock. The trees are slightly stunted in their style, in their size, but they're all oaks. There's mainly oaks up there. There's ash, as I said, and birch, and a few chestnuts, sweet chestnuts. But here's these pine trees that they've put in, and that goes down on that hillside. And they didn't crop those for some reason. And if you go right the way down the bottom there to this bit here, there's a path we were on yesterday. You can just about see it. Yeah, and yeah, but I love the bird song. But anyway, yeah, the price in hiking fuel is almost like a lockdown by other methods, and you're looking at £9 a gallon in Britain now. I think that's probably about $12 a gallon. That's quite a lot of money. And if your vehicle isn't particularly economic, which I'm fairly lucky, my one gets about 40 miles to the gallon. It's very, 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 very expensive to get in your vehicle and drive. Yeah. And that means all the deliveries are going to be costing you more. And let's face it, our economy, we've turned away from going shopping to having things delivered. I mean, we all buy online nowadays, don't we? I mean, I've been buying online since I think I was one of probably eBay's first customers. Great. I'm keeping going because there's some beautiful trees up here that I want to show you. They are planted. Got a funny feeling. I don't know what type of trees they are, but they're not the same as these, but they do not grow big. They might even be redwoods that have been transported. Here comes another car. Here comes another vehicle. This is a van. Do 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 do. That's a holiday maker. A tourist. You can tell by the ginger way that they're driving up the road. And there's some nice mighty oaks up there. They're not the scrub oak. And there's some sweet chestnuts, but they're very, very nice trees. You see we've got a bend here. And a seat without a view. Look straight into a load of brambles. I suppose it's pleasant enough, but if you look up here, it's clearing. But this is one of those trees. See that? That's probably about 150 feet high. They're not that old either, because one fell down and I counted the rings and they were only 70 odd years old. So something that grows that much in 70 years, I wonder how big that will get. And there's about 4 or 5 of them along here. And we'll get a little view in a second. And I'll just put it out. Once we get to a little view thing, where that tree came down, we'll probably be able to see. Yeah. If anybody knows what trees they are, or got an idea what trees they might be, let us know in the comments. Because, yeah, Just having a little walk this morning. Not going to sort out the geopolitical situation because we can't. What we can focus on is what we are and where we are. And digitalis. Now these are one of my favourite summer wildflowers in England. Here we go. Digitalis. Lovely. You can use them to treat heart conditions. I don't know how that works. Here's a tree that's felled, one we got to count the rings on. There you go. You can see. And they came over. We had a big storm. And the storm came from the north, which is unusual. Most of our storms come from the southwest. And because it came from the north, it took out lots and lots of trees because they weren't, the trees weren't expecting it to come from that way. And if you look out over the north here, which we are heading north at the moment, roughly, you look out over there, look at that tree there up there. That's got to be getting on for, I reckon that's pushing about 180 feet. Yeah, and this one too. They've grown really tall, really, really quickly. And you're starting to get the view over the sea, because this forest goes down to the sea. It's also, when you get deeper into this, as I said, if you go further about 2 miles in that direction, effectively, it's the last place in this country where boggarts, the little people, live. It's the last community of the little people in England. I can't speak for other parts of the British Isles, but believe you me, the people who live there, who live that deep into the woods, talk about strange goings on with some sort of like beings that aren't, like they're not living in this realm, and but they can live in this realm, and basically they're sort of like magical things. I can't explain it without sounding completely freaking crazy, but believe you me, they talk about them as if they're as real as people, your next door neighbour. They complain about them. They don't, and they say, oh, they're marvellous or anything like that. They say they're gits. There's the marsh there. See that? That's a salt marsh. And you can see where the sea broke in there. Boom. Just there, that's where the sea broke in. 25 years ago, that was just farmland. Now it's a thing. The tide's in now, so it's come in. And there's, and on the far side is Peggal, Wales. That's 15 miles across there from one side to the other. There you go. All right, thank you. Just a quick talk this morning. Well, not that much of a quick talk, a long talk. Have a good one. 15 minutes of your time. Enjoy.